This is the same one that you brought to my place?
The only thing difference is the box itself.
Yeah.
That's it. Everything else is the same. Same springs, same guts, same everything.
Okay. And there's nothing to take apart in here and clean or
Nope.
or oil up or anything? It's got a lubricant in there already? And
No lubricant. Everything's dry.
it's all dry?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't bother to put in lubricant because I wasn't sure what the lubricant will do after so many times traveling.
Right.
Because they're going to come out of here and come into, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I just didn't want to.
I don't think it needs a lubricant.
I don't think so either. Because if all you're doing is this,
Yeah.
it
There's
should be fine.
so little movement in it.
Yeah,
It's
it's,
minute.
it's never going to create friction. Ever.
Yeah.
And plus, when you get lubricant in there, it's Teflon sides, right? So when you get aluminum on the Teflon, it starts to stick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lubricant, I should say.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah. Okay, are you stopped in the place there?
Yep.
Guys ready to rock and ready to rock? Yeah, I think so.
I guess without any further ado, we'll turn the floor over to Dave Cambell, who's come up from is it Innisfail or between Innisfail and Red Deer.
Somewhere close to that Calgary outfit.
He's come up with a design of a threading jig that is pretty unique, and it does a lot of the things that people that want to make threads would probably like to see. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Dave, and you can introduce yourself and Stu.
Hello everybody, my name is David Campbell. I'm the founder and president of Turnex Machine. This product is a new product that I developed over the last 18, 19 months. And it's called Slick Shift Threader. And basically, it's a threading tool that you can do wooden boxes and that sort of stuff. And there's two notable features on this threader. Is first of all, you have what's known as a pull-away function. So what that is, if you're cutting a thread and you just want to check it without losing your adjustment, all you do is pull this button right on the side here and just pull away. You can just pull it back, check your thread. If it needs to be cut some more, just pull it back forward. It locks back in place and just continue on with what you do. The other notable feature on here is this tool has a function on here that you can change 4 different thread pitches. So that's 2 millimeter, 2.5 millimeter, 3 millimeter, and 3.5 millimeter. All with the turn of a dial. So you don't need to pull anything off or put anything on. It's that simple. So without further ado, I'm going to turn over to Stu, and he's going to show you how it works.
Okay, this is my first time using this piece of equipment. Dave's had it at my shop a couple of times and we've played with it a bit, and I got a little bit familiar with it, but it's pretty neat. I really like it. Like Dave was explaining, the quick release to pull it free to be able to check your thread to see how it matches up. More so when you get to the external, like this I'm going to turn first. I'm going to turn the internal thread, the female thread. There's nothing to check until you have a male thread to screw into it. So it'll be the next one that we will be making this advancement of the slide on the, for checking it for fit.
What thread are you going to turn?
And I'm going to turn the 2 different threads. I got enough stuff here to do a couple. And I'm going to turn the 2 millimeter first. And then I'm going to go to the other end of the scale and go right to the 3.5. So we're going to go from the minimum that we can do to the maximum. So you'll see the variation that's available. And it's a simple operation, really. That the cutter is in the headstock, and you spin that fast, and you advance the screw to bring your product into the cutter and cut as deep as you want. And your advancement for the depth of the cut is on here. Screwing it in will move your product in or out from the cutter. So that's where you get your depth of cut. The cutter is a special piece, 60-degree cutter that fits at a collet chuck anchored with the drawbar, which last time Dave was at my shop, I didn't put the drawbar in. And we were very fortunate nothing happened, but it's something that if you have one of these things, you got to remember that. It is an important piece of safety on this because we're working with a Morse taper, it holds pretty good, but with working with what it's actually doing, pretty good chance that that Morse could come loose. And I don't want to imagine what kind of a mess it could make because you're probably turning 2,500 to 3,500 depending how quick you run, but it could be moving pretty good and it could probably do some damage. As far as setting the machine up, you have to set this up so it will cut square. This means this shaft has to be going directly into the cutter. If it's off on an angle, you're going to get a taper thread and nothing's going to fit. So it's part of the setup to make sure that it's running square. The height of the cutter, I don't know if you noticed me, but I was playing around with it here to get it set before. So all I did was I spun this around and I lined the center up. I had a piece of wood in here that had a center point in it, in the chuck. Turn around and I lined it up with the center on the tailstock. So I know that's dead level to the center. If it was up or down, you're not going to get a proper cut on your thread. So going from there, I think we can probably start making some wrinkles.
How does it mount to the banjo?
I'm sorry?
How does it mount to the banjo?
It's just a post, like the regular dual rest post. It comes in here, and there is a lock collar on here. Once you got that set to height, you can lock that collar on there. And then if you're using this on the same lathe, so every time you just have to put it on, you won't have to realign it. But if you take it to your friend's lathe and it's a different lathe, you're going to have to reset that. Okay?
How many teeth per inch?
This is in metric pitch, 2 millimeter, 2.5, 3 millimeter, and 3.5. And DPI, I don't know what it would be. Dave, could you convert that?
Respiration is basically comparable to 6, 8, 10, and 12 threads.
There you go. Okay? I know a lot of us are from old school. I'm still having trouble flipping from imperial to metric, but I'm getting there.
I'm having trouble from daylight saving time to regular time.
Yeah, right. Good job you got a clock, eh? You know, we got 2 cats at home. They tell us what time it is. They're an hour ahead on their feeding every day right now. That's for at least 3 meals a day.
You know, the only reason I done it like that was because where most of the world is metric,
Yeah,
that's the only reason I did that.
Yeah.
If I was only going to sell to Canada and the US,
Yeah.
I would have just went with inches. and called it a day.
yeah. Because I know in the US, they're probably going to have trouble with it. There's probably going to be some going there. Because, you know, this product's going to be shown, and we're going to show it through the Lancaster Coffee Hour, and that's, people all over the world are watching that. So, you know, it's going to go US, and whenever they're talking sizes, they're talking imperial. And, you know, there's the odd guys converting it to metric, and, you know, there's always some discussion about it, but.
How do you line it up parallel to the,
Parallel to the shaft? By eye. That's, Dave and I were just talking about that here. And to be honest with you, Ron, I think what I'm going to try and do, like I'm going to purchase this unit. This is mine, all right? And when I have this at home, set up on my lathe, I'm going to make a jig that will fit along the bed of the lathe. It'll come up, and this will touch up against, and it'll just automatically square it. Because this piece has to be square, running parallel to the cutter. Okay, so we basically have to dream up a method of centering it and getting it straight. It is relatively critical, because if you don't have it running straight, you're not cutting a straight thread. And stuff won't match up. So it's got to be parallel to the bed. So I think we're pretty much ready to go here. I've set up a piece. It's all ready to cut. And when I do set this up, before I cut, I want to see about a half an inch between the end of the cutter and the top front surface of the product that I am threading. And the reason for that is when you back out and you want to pull it out to check, you want to be sure that you're going clear of the cutter. So that piece is important. So let's make some wrinkles. Lots of speed on the cutter. You can advance with the handle, but I recommend holding on to the chuck. I bring it in so the cutter is inside, and then I will advance the thread in here so it just touches. I don't know if the camera is picking it up or not, but you can see I've got a full set of wrinkles in that inside. Can you still see it, Bert? Yeah. Okay. Actually, this has turned out to be a pretty good cut. It's fairly sharp.
Yeah, the camera's picking it up nice.
Is it?
You can see all your wrinkles.
Okay. I've got a small wire brush. Relatively clean. Okay.
One point to note, I use a wire brush as well. Make sure it's a brass or plastic brush. Get some threads with a steel brush, and they all turn black. As soon as moisture gets in there, the metal of the steel turns a little black. Right? Brass wood.
Okay, at this point, I'm going to talk about some CA glue. Threads in the wood, they can't always be consistent and being good. Wood's different fibers and stuff, they break down and you get little weak spots in it and cracks and whatever. So what we really do is give it a coat of CA glue. That'll basically put a coating on your thread, and if you take it in there and make another cut, it'll really sharpen up the cut. It's going to make quite a difference to it.
What was the initial diameter of your hole?
On this one was 1 7/16. When we get to cutting the other thread on the piece that's going into it, that's a different story. It's a different size. It's like any threading. It's got to have a larger. What happened? Something slipped. Yeah. Okay, now we got a situation where we have to chase the thread. For some reason or other, it twisted in the post. So now, what we have to do is find the thread. This is good this has happened, because you guys are going to see what you'll have to do if you have a hiccup like this. And basically, all you got to do is turn it in to get it to match into the thread. Now we should be reset right back to where we were. That wasn't supposed to happen. I probably didn't have the banjo post tight enough, and it knocked loose. So we should be okay. I chased into it, so I found it, locked it down in. Let's give it a whirl and see what happens. Either we're going to take the wrinkles right out of it, have a smoothie, or we're going to have threads. Guess we got lucky. Nice clean thread. Okay, this one is done. We can remove it. Inspector, check that out.
Take a quick look at that, and then we'll get it back to him, because he'll need it when he's fitting the other pieces, but go ahead and take a look.
See that? Okay.
He could, because of where he went a half inch out.
You need these back?
I will. Have a quick look at it first.
While we're looking at it, you can talk about the piece you cut up.
Yeah, okay, what I got now is for the external thread on the part that's going into it. I don't know if you recognize it, but I have got a small shoulder on here. The size of this shoulder will fit inside that thread. It'll slide into it. The thread is going to be cut in this section here. All this is just a little bit of a lead to bring it in. You don't have to have it, but we've found with doing this threading, that is a little bit of an advance, simplifies it, makes the job a little easier. When the cutter comes to this point, that should be the full depth that you really need for the threads that you're cutting on here. You understand what I mean? When I get that piece back, you'll see a little more how this is going.
probably start cutting the outside thread.
Sorry?
So you could probably start making 1 or 2 passes on the outside thread.
Yeah, I could.
That's a hell of a lot better than what you did in your shop.
Well, I'm getting older.
Good job.
Is that good luck or good management, Stu?
Pressure. Put pressure on it. He was in his shop, there's only 2 of us heckling.
What is the depth on that one, Stu?
I'm sorry?
What is the depth on that one?
On this piece here? I don't know. I didn't measure it. I probably got about maybe a little more than 3/4, maybe 7/8 of an inch.
So you'll want to get close to the cutter on that one.
We gotta be close to it. Yeah, I know. I have to reset completely because this piece here is longer than this one. I forgot about that when I made these blanks, that it was going to be a reset situation.
The
So
good thing is, I think you only got to reset off the bed, right?
yeah, I just have to reset this. Yeah.
Grab your square.
Yeah.
Did you mention that you're using the square to set the banjo first?
I didn't, but that's one of the things that I do is set the banjo square to the lathe bed, because if you have to go back to do what I'm doing here, you got to reference square. You know you're sitting straight then. We want to be sure that we can go all the way with the cut as far as you want to put the thread, which we can here. I could probably get it a little bit closer, so I want to be able to run right into this flange. Normally you don't want to take it into the flange, but we got enough thread in here if we want to try and get it all the way. I maybe take it in just a little bit farther. But you also want to be sure that you're clear when we pull this back, we clear the cutter. Okay, the cutter's clearing the outside of this. So we're good to start. This is locked in position.
Have you got enough clearance to slide it sideways?
Yep.
Doesn't look like it from the parallax on the camera, it looks like it's.
1/8 of an inch. Maybe a 16. Should be good. know if the camera is picking it up or not, but this is not as nice a piece of wood as what this internal thread was. There's chunks chipping off of it. So here we're gonna go with a shot of CA, our savior. We usually save the CA till the last cut, but we're more than halfway on this. It's almost there. One more cut pass on this, I think, is probably going to do it.
So if you had a matching set,
Yeah?
how do you get the threads so when you're done putting them back together, your two sides meet?
You take a little off of one or the other until they match.
I'm not really sure what you mean there, Steve. You mean if it won't go in?
Grain match, or if you had, a design on one or the other, on that goes through both,
Yeah.
how do you get them, when they're tight together, how do you get that to match up?
Oh, your alignment on your grain on the wood. That can be pretty testy. What I guess really all you can do is keep cutting a little farther.
You take a little bit off.
A little bit off.
the faces. We did a demo on that a couple of years
Right,
ago.
off the face, that's right.
Great question, because that's
Yeah.
usually what happens when you've got woods that are really, really pretty. And it's not that hard, you just have to get the threads good first, and then I usually take it off the female side because it's a flat surface, and you can take just a skin
And to
and
come off of this surface here.
then try it. And you
So
just
then it would
let
come in a
go
little
down
farther.
Till it turns in.
Till you get a
flat
match.
enough that they match.
Yeah.
And that's trial and error. You might
Yeah.
have to do 10 or 15 real fine cuts to get it to match.
It's just starting on. So we gotta make another cut. And my cutter hasn't touched the shoulder yet. So I knew before I went with this, it's not gonna go. But I wanted to see how close it was and get about a half a thread. So it's gonna be a nice tight fit.
So the little tenon on your rail, that part there, yeah?
Yep.
You initially said that just has to fit in.
That just fits in the thread, yeah.
Okay, so that second tenon, is there a dimension that diameter that has to be?
No.
So it can be anything and you just.
Anything larger than, well, I guess really there is, but I don't know what it is, and I guess, Dave, you might be able to answer that, is how much, what the depth of the thread is from the root of the thread to the top.
It's gonna be whatever you make that one, right?
Right, yeah. So it can be quite a bit larger, and all you're gonna be doing is more cuts to bring it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to wood, there is no exact science when it comes to the depth. Because wood is going to kind of, because we pointed this out before, but
Yeah.
how wood moves.
Right.
So you could have it bang on that night, the next morning you might do that, you might do.
Yeah.
I guess what I was getting at is if you didn't have enough diameter on that second tenon, it would be probably a loose fit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for what I could see, it's probably about 1.5 to 2 millimeter yet to go before it touches this shoulder. So I'm thinking one cut's gonna do it, but it'll probably be two. There's one other thing that I should have mentioned here, and I didn't do it, but that is to cut, this is another piece that I got, a relief slot at the back end here, at the end of the thread. As you can see on this, there's a beveled shoulder, and that's because the cutter comes up against the end. If you had another groove like this at the other end, it's a nicer, cleaner fit on your threading. You know what I mean? I should have given that another coat of CA and one more pass. But I wanted to let you see it before I do that. I don't really feel that it's, I'm probably not gonna bother.
You go after the adjustment on the, not I had the wrong camera on. Stu,
Sorry?
can I get you to show the adjustment again? I had the wrong camera on, you couldn't see what you were doing.
Adjustment on the,
The thread pitch.
oh, on the pitch, okay. You probably can't see the detail, or the lettering on here, but I switched it now to 3.5. This is the coarsest thread that we're gonna cut. We had it at 2, now we're going to the 3.5. Okay, I guess we're ready to go again.
How close are you on that one, Stu?
This, sorry?
How close are you on that one?
About 1/8 of an inch.
Yeah, it's just where it's a deeper thread.
Yeah. Because I don't know if I'll get all the way with it, but I'll turn it in, see what I can get.
So that pitch adjustment just means the angle of the piece to the base.
All it says is just use this which you guys have.
Bert?
On the actual tool.
That pitch that I just cut is the same pitch that's on the spindle of this lathe. This is 33 millimeter lathe, the 3.5 pitch. Yeah. How come you're not giving me a rough time? It's enough out of you. I expect it from him.
I seen the expression on your face and I looked at the camera.
Oh, well, David's giving me practice on how to run this thing.
This is all the real world stuff, though. When you're doing it on your latest, you do that all the time.
This is a rougher piece of wood, this is not as nice as the last one.
What kind of wood is it?
I think this is birch. Not a good, healthy piece, though.
The CA is your friend. That makes
Yeah,
bad wood easy.
it is. I will admit, I did run through my scrap pile to find this stuff, so I wasn't gonna use good wood.
Nice to be able to see that you can take some scrappy wood and still get some threads, and if you do it on really good wood, the threads are awesome.
Still not there.
See, the good thing about that is you just put it back in place, make your adjustment, and go again.
Sorry?
The good thing about that is you just put it back in place,
Yeah,
and just make your adjustment and go again.
yep. Does anybody else want to come up and try one? I got a couple other pieces we can play around with.
And then now's a good time if you just want to go up and take.
It's all set up, ready to go.
Go right up there on hands-on and take a look at it, so.
Good question.
Yep.
So, I'm just sitting here thinking about world applications that you can use this for, project, whatever. How do I cut the threads? Let's say I shaped whatever I'm shaping first, and I don't have a tenon in there, or that male end, how do I protect those threads to put it in a chuck, so I can now shape that head, whatever you want to call it, the same, make it a peppermint,
Okay.
something, and I want to screw it on
Uh,
there. Have you tried that?
Well, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can make a plug that will screw onto it, so you have to thread the plug,
Right,
screw
yeah.
onto it, and then tape it together with some masking tape, and it'll probably be enough to hold it. Or just put masking tape
On the
or
thread?
duct tape on the threaded part and chuck that.
Like this?
Yep, yeah. And depending on what type of a chuck grip you
You'd
got.
have to make another tenon.
So, turn your, so I'm gonna switch to the other camera. If you turn your banjo sideways, so you can see on the, oh, the other way. Okay, right there. Maybe back a little bit the other way, just look right about there. So now we can see the switching mechanism, but for switching the threads, your hands on it. If you wanna come around this way and show them how that works.
Okay, it's marked off here in no, it's not in a detent. Well, I guess it is in a detent. When you pull it out and turn it, it locks into the position that it says. The indicated pitch is at the top for what it is, either 2, 2.5, 3, or 3.5. And that's all switched internally here, so there's nothing to go wrong with it. It's foolproof. This is a beautiful system. I totally love it. For a threader, can't beat it.
What's that worth?
The price on that with the cutter is $820. And Trudeau wants his share too, so $820 plus GST. Plus GST.
Just to talk a little bit about the cutter, this one is 3/4 inch diameter, and that's what comes with the unit. And Bert has a 3/8 cutter, and Dave's been trying to research a location to get a 3/8 cutter. The smallest hole that you'd be able to cut a thread in this, I would think, would be 1 inch. I don't think you can get anything smaller. And where that was at 3/8.
This is a 3/8 cutter
Compared to the 3/4.
compared to the 3/4. And I bought this one from the US, cost me $32 for the cutter, cost me $34 to ship it. But when you're making really, really small needle cases, the hole you're going into is 3/8 of an inch. So I put the threads on a 3/8 of an inch hole, and then the other piece goes into it, the needle cases.
So does anybody want to try this?
I will. Why not? That's what you're doing.
Do you want to do both?
Oh, I'll just do one.
Internal or external?
Inside.
Okay,
We'll do the female.
okay. That's pretty slick.
Very well built, I can see that.
It is, yeah. Okay, this shaft is screwed right back as far as it can go. You gotta have clearance on the end here,
So you can move it back and
so
forth.
you can move it back and forth. And the first thing we gotta do is lock
Click
it
it
in
back and
position.
lock it.
Yeah, like I was forgetting to do more than once.
That lock seems to be a little hard to get to.
Yeah, but it's gotta be. It's gotta be tight. Okay, it's locked in, okay?
So now
Now we're gonna cut on this side,
Yep,
okay? So we wanna bring this back
and get it lined up.
and get it relatively lined up to where it's gonna come through here. I gotta be
So
able to see,
for the lining up thing,
yeah.
why don't we just move it out
Well,
just a
first
little
off, we
bit?
gotta come all the way, we gotta make sure this can come all the way back so we can get full travel.
okay.
Okay, so that's why I start at the back end here and leave a little bit of clearance so it will come past if we want to make a thread check. Okay,
And then this thing,
that advances it in and out. Okay,
okay,
we gotta be square. Believe me, I'm not used to this leave. Okay, that's square, and it'll clear.
clear.
Should turn this a little bit while you're advancing the screw.
Yes.
Kind of
So I think-
adapters on that chuck.
Yeah.
on this.
Yeah.
There's 3 adapters that come with it. This is a 33 millimeter that Dave's put on here, because that's the size that I have.
Okay.
And he has, I think, 1 inch and 1.25 inches. But if you need a different size, you tell Dave and he'll get you one.
Okay,
Just
so
touching?
that's just not quite touching.
That's fine. You're close enough.
Yeah,
Okay? Back it
back
out.
it out.
Okay? So, did you see when I was working with this, I advanced with
Yes.
the chuck?
Yes.
Because this chuck is not locked onto the spindle. I cannot lock this, there's no set screw on it. But just by practice that I've had with this thing, and all the experience that Bert has with his, rotate it by chuck.
Well, it's like if you're doing a Forstner bit, you
Yeah.
want to hold the.
That's right, that's right. You can advance
Jacob's
by
chuck.
this, by the handle, but I feel I have more control here. The only thing you gotta be careful with is that gutter's turning.
Yeah.
So you wanna, be sure of it and keep your hands back.
Hands behind it.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
there's a face shield there. Okay. Just rock it back and forth till you feel it. Okay, now back it out. You can take about a half a turn on this knob to give you an amount that you can cut.
I could take more, you're telling me.
Yep. Always hold some drag on the chuck when you
Okay.
turn it. Starting to look like wrinkles. It's a little bit coarse, again, it's a bad piece of wood, and if you turn it a little bit slower, it might cut a little smoother. cuts, I think you might have taken too big of a bite, but that's all right. It's the first time you use it. Which you better get onto. Yeah, come on a little smoother. Okay, so now take the brush, and if you want to pull it off the lock and bring it out, you can, but if you just want to clean it up and look at it, you should be able to turn that in there. Just blow it out. Feel too bad?
Oh, not too bad. It's good.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Little
Want to
chunky,
do
but-
the other one?
No.
Okay.
Let somebody else do that.
Okay.
Give opportunity for all.
Yep. Anyone else want to cut a thread? Bob? You want to do one, Bob? Sure. Well, let's do the mate to this.
Okay, Neil.
Yeah.
Pretty slick.
It's a shorty.
Yeah, okay.
So long as, you know, it's training.
The hard part seems to be getting in the right spacing and perpendicular.
Yeah. It takes a little bit to
Yeah.
get used to, but
Yeah.
it's a bit of trial and error.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
About,
We're clear.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a little bit. Trying to get more in this end. Yeah, that's pretty good. And you're still pretty good, I think, for spacing.
Try that. We're in full trouble.
Oh,
Okay?
okay,
Okay, so this is your advancement for in and out, and
okay.
you gotta screw it this way
To go in.
to go in.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay?
Okay, so we
Here's
got,
face shield. And you're running the same pitch, the 3.5.
okay.
Wait a minute, no, it's on 3.
But we were doing it on 3.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'll do it.
I haven't changed it, so it's on 3. Okay?
So now, I'll do this.
I usually turn it in so it just barely touches that shoulder.
The shoulder, the shoulder?
Sorry, no, the flange that you want to cut.
Okay. That looks like it's just about on the plane, I don't know.
Oops, sorry. Yep.
Okay,
Okay, as long as, and it just touches?
not quite touching it.
Okay, fair enough.
And this brings it in.
Okay, just back it away from it. Screw it in, not this way.
Okay,
Okay, so it's clear.
yeah,
Then start the lathe. Lathe pads.
okay, not quite touching it. So this goes in.
Yeah.
Travel with this?
That's the end of the travel.
Okay. You can just cut it over there, right?
You know, I haven't tried it, but I think you can cut both ways on it.
When I pull on it.
Yeah, you gotta hang on to it.
Yeah, but when I
Don't
pull
pull
it
it
this
in.
way,
Yeah,
it cuts deeper.
yeah. And I think that's because of the direction of travel of the cutter.
Okay, yeah.
So assuming you have to provide your own truck.
Sorry?
You have to provide your own truck.
Yes, you do. Doesn't come with a chuck. That's my chuck.
Yeah, okay, so then what thread is on there?
That doesn't matter. It's in here.
No,
You know, what the spindle size?
Yeah.
33 millimeter. But there's 3 adapters that come with it. So you can have an 1.25 or a 1 inch spindle size. Adjust accordingly.
You want it on
Yeah.
this or your truck?
Yeah, that's interchangeable. When I take this chuck off, you'll see.
What about the drawbar and
That's a 3/8 coarse thread. Pulls into that collet.
where did you get those? I haven't seen them. yet.
Collet? That comes with it.
Oh, okay.
Dave gets it. I don't know where he gets it from. Collet and cutter. It's all part of it.
And it's MP2 or
The only thing you gotta add to this is your chuck. Everything else is there. The post, adapter for your chuck, and the cutter. Drawbar.
You can specify what size post you need.
Right. Most of them are standard 1 inch. Pretty much everything that we got, I think, is going to be 1 inch. You might find the odd 7/8, but that's all the way for you know, I don't know if there's anybody here that's got one of those. If there is, Dave can make that post. That's not a big deal.
I think my little range is, I think it's 1 inch.
Yeah.
It's a 12, 24, it's 1 inch.
Okay. That'll be 1 inch.
It's better than a tear out.
Yeah, it's not good wood, Bob. You know, but at least it'll give you an idea of what's going on and how it works. And
Yeah, it cuts differently on the way out. than the way
Yeah.
in. It's still only halfway in.
A lot of work goes into making one of these things.
yeah, there is. Dave's been working on this for quite a while.
It's pretty close to the.
Yeah, that's a shitty piece of wood, really.
Yeah.
It is, but, you know,
Still not a bad thread.
surprising. But, you know, if I CA that and, you know, make another pass, I'd probably clean up, it'd probably be okay. But, you know, for a sample it, you know, to do it, personally, I wouldn't bother, but at least you got an idea what is
Sure,
going.
yeah,
You wanna
yeah.
try that and see if it'll fit on
Well,
there?
this one's pretty coarse too.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Holy smokes, this fits.
Yeah, yeah. Those work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, I actually brought 4 more with me if anybody's interested in buying them. Lots of unique ideas.
Yeah.
All I do is I take what's out there and I just make it better. I never invent anything, I just make it better.
That's easier.
It's easy.
Yeah. There's not too many original ideas.
See anything else?
No, that's good.
You're good? Okay. Right? I guess that's about it.
Have some thinning to do, probably.